I go back in life 28 years back when, as a child of just 7 years of age, the spark of secularism was lit inside me. As a kid, I always looked upon to my late mother for advice and solution to problems. Mummy was a school teacher who was very disciplined in her day-to-day living. And Mummy made sure that her kids, that is me and my two younger sisters, led life with some kind of discipline. My father was a simple, sober, and defensive individual who always took life with ease and defensiveness. Therefore, me and my two younger sisters always looked upon to our mother for all kinds of help and support. Mummy would show us both the emotional and practical side of life in dealing with any kind of issue, whereas our father would mostly treat it emotionally. Mummy would impart wisdom to us in the most effective, emotional, and practical way. Both my parents were government servants, and imparting good education to their kids was on their topmost priority. I was studying in a good convent international school in New Delhi. I call it international because many students from other countries were also studying in my school. The school was known to accommodate students whose parents were working in the embassies of their respective countries. One such student was Hassan. Hassan was a Muslim student who belonged to the country of Pakistan. His father was a Pakistan diplomat working in the embassy of Pakistan in New Delhi. Hassan was about 3 months younger to me. Both of us became good friends in school since we had some common interests to share. We both enjoyed playing and talking about cricket as a sport. Watching and also talking about movies was one of our best pastime in school. And we also generally talked a lot about our family. My little sister Neeti, who was just a year younger to me, also would get along well with Hassan. Both me and Hassan would also fight on small issues out of our kiddish immaturity. Both of us were just 7 years of age, enjoying our friendship in school. The bond between me and Hassan grew so strong that as soon as I would reach home after school, either he or I would call him on telephone. Telephone 28 years back was a luxury to have, and since both of us had it in our house, we would make the best use of it by calling each other multiple times in a day and speaking at length. Mummy was completely aware about my friendship with Hassan and how much I liked him. Even Hassan's parents were aware about his friendship and bond he shared with me. An Indian having an association with a Pakistani national was not very well taken by some of my other family relatives. And obviously, there were reasons for it. India and Pakistan had a bad history behind. But for two 7-year-old kids, just two 7-year-old kids, that is me and Hassan, the childhood friendship and association was much more than to hate each other for what had happened in history. And moreover, none of our parents ever objected to our association as they knew that we were just kids. My association with Hassan in school lasted for about 3 years when his father, who was a diplomat, got posted to another country. I have so many strong, cheerful memories of my childhood association with Hassan, and one such important memory or event which I still carry with me is what I call is the spark of secularism. And this spark of secularism was given to me by my mother and to Hassan by his mother. And I would like to now narrate how the spark of secularism was ignited by our mothers inside us 28 years down the line till today. I carry that spark in my mind, in my heart, and in my spirit. One day in school, after our normal lunch break, me and Hassan got into an argument which to a certain extent turned nasty. As kids, it was normal for us to argue with each other on various issues. But this time, the reason of argument was different and sensitive to both of us. The reason for both of us arguing was that I said my God is the greatest and Hassan said his God was the greatest. Being a Hindu, I kept on saying that my God, that is Bhagwan, was the greatest. And Hassan, being a Muslim, said his God, that is Allah, was the greatest. We kept on arguing with each other, just saying what each of us wanted to say. I kept on saying, you don't know, Hassan, that Bhagwan is the real God and no one is above Bhagwan. To this, Hassan would counter and say that Allah was the ultimate and no one was greater than Allah. And our argument led to nothing but each of us coming to a point where we had no energy to continue. Since I came from a Hindu family and my mother being a religious lady, I imbibed the Hindu religious customs and beliefs from my mother, father, and to a large extent from my grandmother. Hindus addressed God as Bhagwan, and as a child, I believed that Bhagwan was the creator of this world and was the greatest. Similarly, Hassan had imbibed the Muslim religious customs and beliefs from his family. He too, as a child like me, believed that his God, that is Allah, was the ultimate creator of this world and was the greatest. The argument led me fatigued and also confused. As a child, my mind was bombarding with questions and self answers. The best person who I had to go to was my dear mother, because she was the one whom I always looked upon for help, guidance, and wisdom. I still remember that day when, after coming back from school, I went straight to my dear mother to get my issue addressed. Mummy was cooking food for us in the kitchen. In a hasteful manner, I said, Mummy, today me and Hassan had a big fight. I said that Bhagwan was the greatest, and he said Allah is the greatest. You tell me, isn't Bhagwan the greatest of all, even greater than Allah? My mother, while cooking food, paused for some time and, looking at me with a smile on her face, said, "You just get your school dress changed. Have your lunch first, and I will then give you the answer to your question." I obeyed my mother. I knew that Mummy would surely address my question properly. After finishing lunch, I laid down on my bed, looking forward towards my mother to come and address my question on who was great, Bhagwan or Allah. Mummy finally came to me and stood beside me as I looked at her in anticipation of hearing her side of the issue I had addressed. This was what my mother said to me, that is, to her 7-year-old kid. "Son, I will ask you two questions. You first try to answer them, and then I will answer your question. Tell me, I have three children, you and two of your younger sisters. Whom do I love most? Do I love you the most? Or do I love your younger sister Niti the most? Or do I love your youngest sister Preeti the most?" I was a bit puzzled by my mother's question. Obviously, she loved each of us equally. How could I think of my mother loving me more than my sisters, or she loving them more than me? I answered, "Mummy, you love all of us equally. I do not think you love anyone more than the other." Mummy smiled and put her second question to me. She said, "I am your mother who has given birth to you and brought you in this world. Similarly, Hassan's mother brought him into this world. Tell me, who is more a great mother? Me as a Hindu mother who brought you in this world, or Hassan's mother as a Muslim who brought him into this world?" Now, my mother's second question was more puzzling to me. It made me think a lot. I answered, "Mummy, I feel you are a great mother. You are more a great mother." To this, my mother answered back immediately, "Why do you say that? As I am a mother for you, the same is Hassan's mother for him. As I love you, so does she love him. As you call me mother, so the same way he calls his mother. What I am for you is the same what Hassan's mother is for him. It is only that we are Hindus and they are Muslims, as per the religious beliefs we follow. Therefore, for in all religions, the mother to a child is the same. The mother's love towards her child is the same for Hindu, for Muslim, for Sikh, for any other religion. My son, the same way God or Creator is the same to all. We call it Bhagwan, Hassan calls it Allah, Christians call it Jesus, and Sikhs call it Vaheguru, and many other names are given to the Supreme, that is the Creator. As you call me Mummy in your own sweet way, the same way Hassan calls his mother Mummy in his own sweet way. Similarly, God, the Supreme, who has created this world, we call him Bhagwan, and in our own sweet way, Hassan calls it Allah in his own sweet way as per the religious beliefs. Therefore, you must respect Allah and all other religions in the same way as you do for Bhagwan. Similarly, they should also respect Bhagwan and other religions in the same way as they do for their own God. I took back my mother's words of wisdom to Hassan, which he took back to his mother. He came back to me agreeing on everything my mother had told me because his mother also gave him the same wisdom. Whatever I had told him that my mother had told me about respecting other religions, the same thing his mother echoed to him. Both of us, at a tender age of 7, were given the right kind of belief and wisdom on respecting other religions. And it was our mother who lit that spark. I would call it the spark of secularism. A child's mind and heart are very soft, non political, and innocent. How society inculcates respect about other religions in a child's mind and heart, it leaves a mark on his spirit for a long time. 28 years back, my late mother lit the spark of secularism in me, and the same happened to Hassan through his mother. Whenever I see people fighting, hating each other for religion, the spark comes alive and makes me think like a rational human being as to why hate, fear, and violence are associated with religion. And I always come to this: Allah, Bhagwan, Jesus, Vaheguru, and all other gods with various religions preach have nothing to do with hate, fear, and violence. It is mostly we human beings who do it for our own selfish motives. How can the merciful Allah allow hate, fear, and bloodshed in His name? How can the merciful Jesus Christ allow hate, fear, and bloodshed in His name? How can the merciful Sri Bhagwan, Sri Krishna, allow hate, fear, and bloodshed in His name? How can the merciful Vaheguru allow hate, bloodshed, and fear in His name? The idea of acting on the spark of secularism came out of the wisdom which my late mother implanted in me when, as a 7-year-old child, for the first time I questioned her about religion. That spark of wisdom still lives with me. My noble intent is to share the wisdom with others, to discuss and to debate. True secularism can be practiced when we properly educate children about it, and the best way is to perform noble acts.